There are 100,000 people who are homeless each night in Australia, enough to fill the MCG. Sadly, nearly half of them are under 25. Nelson Mandela said, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." As long as youth homelessness continues to be a problem in modern Australian society, we're emblazoning social inequality and injustice across our nation. 25% of young people in state care have had more than 3 placements, and 8% have had more than 5 placements. Imagine if you had to change your home, your parents, your siblings, your school, and your friends 5 times before you turned 18. We already know that kids in state care living in residential care are less likely to show positive indicators. Only 58% go to school, compared with 99.9% of children in the general community. Indigenous children are overrepresented by 6 times the number of non-Indigenous children in out-of-home care. 42% of young people on youth justice orders have also lived in residential care. And what about the economic cost of inadequate care for our young people? Child protection and out-of-home care costs $2.5 billion per year in Australia, and it doesn't end when these kids leave the care of the state, costing upwards of $738,000 per young person over the rest of their lifetime in financial support, public housing, adult education, and sadly, incarceration. Finally, the burden of disease stemming from a lifetime of fear, mental anguish, and pain relating to abuse and neglect is at least $6.7 billion. We are all investing billions of dollars to care for people who have been abused and neglected as children. And what do we get for this money? We get kids who are conditioned to a reactive fight or flight response, who have learnt to act aggressively or dissociate to protect themselves in a system that promotes detachment from the community, as we reinforce young people's fears by keeping them in inadequate care. The current system is outdated. From the time of early European settlement in Australia until the late 1970s, children who were removed from their families needed care and protection, and institutional residential care attempted to cater for this need. Fast forward 150 years, and we now know that protecting children requires more than giving them a place to live. Of course, it's better to have a roof over your head, but it's not a guarantee of healing the trauma that led to the need of institutional support in the first place. To protect and respect the rights of children, we need to move from seeing child protection merely as a response to abuse and neglect to one of promoting safety and the well-being of children. This means we need to focus on creating a system of trauma recovery rather than one of housing en masse. To tackle this issue, we need a shared agenda for change, with national leadership and a common purpose. We know that a healthy family is made up of nurturing parents who provide a safe base to come home to. These parents are effective in role modelling positive relationships, which promotes healthy growth and development. Residential care was originally designed to accommodate children without a family. It is now clear that a very important step was left out of the design. So how do we replicate a healthy family environment for someone who doesn't have one? Let's talk about therapeutic care. What is it? It's about supporting people to recover from what has happened to them. In delivering therapeutic care, everyone has a role to play. Whether you're a child or young person, a parent, family, a community member, or a non-government organisation, a leader in the business or corporate sector, local, state, territory, or federal government. Traumatised children have often suffered severe deprivation resulting from chaotic and unpredictable environments. We need to do everything possible to provide an experience of consistency and stability, enabling them to believe that the world is a predictable and secure place. This happens as a result of repetition, when there are routines and boundaries around sleeping, eating, talking about things as a family, going to school or work, and receiving consequences. We can simulate this environment by doing exactly what parents would do. We can have a bedtime and a breakfast time, get together once a week as a family to talk with each other, put photos of each other on the walls, have Sunday night roast around the table and watch TV together. Each of these activities fosters a sense of identity and belonging. Just as parents listen to tales of schoolyard dramas, insurmountable challenges and painful experiences, and provide understanding, respect, and advocacy to their children, We can provide a regular ear for the same daily issues as well as counselling to those who have experienced extreme abuse and neglect throughout their lives and who struggle to integrate those experiences into their current life. Just as parents welcome their children home for dinners, celebrations, holidays, and milestones years after they've moved out of the family home, we can do this by becoming their family for life, creating a concept of life membership. And just as parents have friends and relatives to call on when they need support or are ready for a break, we can provide intensive nurturing support for carers looking after our children by providing them emotional support, respite care and training, as well as opportunities to be acknowledged and appreciated by the communities in which they work. The amazing thing is that children who are provided their right to comfort, family, safety, and long-term loving care show a natural willingness to be an active, valuable part of their community. There is hard evidence that demonstrates traumatized children can be taught to build their sense of self, learn new ways of trusting and relating to others, and develop pro-social behaviours. In Australia, there is a program that is doing exactly this. A recent analysis of the social return on investment from this program demonstrated an outstanding $12 return for every $1 invested into the program over 5 years. This is because of the contributions that these young people who have been a part of the program give back to their communities through volunteering and employment. This is very different from the $738,000 cost of existing state care. Lighthouse Foundation has been the safe harbour for hundreds of the most vulnerable young people in our community. Every day, around the clock, they provide intensive support, security, encouragement, love, restoration and shelter. In other words, young people look to them for a home, a family, a community and a future. The Lighthouse therapeutic family model of care offers important practical lessons that can be shared and utilised across the social services sector. It takes a village to raise a child. It's not just a task for child protection workers, researchers, policymakers, or philanthropists. The Dalai Lama said, "If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito." As a community, we have let children down. We need to be responsible for this and work hard to heal those who have been affected by abuse and neglect, and to prevent it from reoccurring through the current system. No matter who you are, you have a unique role to play in the circle of care for our vulnerable young people. To find out more about the Lighthouse therapeutic family model of care, go to www.lighthouseinstitute.org.au.